Hey everybody, this is Dan back with another video where today I'm going to be discussing everything I think you need to know about how a co-borrower works for a mortgage. We're going to talk about the benefits of having a co-borrower, some of the misconceptions, and also talk about who would actually make a good co-borrower. So in general, a co-borrower is usually talked about as having somebody join the loan application as a way to strengthen that loan application, to either get an initial approval for a specific type of loan, or to also increase the purchase price that the person is qualified for that was initially applying. And also, it could give you access to additional programs. For example, maybe somebody by themselves is going to be able to get qualified for an FHA loan, but having a co-borrower on might strengthen that application enough to potentially explore some conventional financing. So there's a number of reasons that you would have a co-borrower potentially join that loan application. And again, the main reason that the co-borrower could potentially help getting approval is because that co-borrower is hopefully going to help strengthen that loan application in some way, and mainly by lowering what's called the debt ratio. I've done a video in the past on how the debt ratio works. So whoever is co-signing is hopefully again going to help us lower that debt to income ratio with being able to show a good amount of income with little debt, bringing our debt ratio down and strengthening that file. So that's one thing to look for in a co-borrower. But we can't just pick and choose certain things to count for qualifying, because if there is somebody willing to join the application and be a co-borrower or co-signer, we also do have to look at their credit score, just like anybody else that's on the loan application. So ideally, not only having a decent income and lowering that debt ratio, but the co-borrower should also have a credit score that is at or above the other people that are on the loan application already. Now, if it's not, that's okay, as long as they still do meet the minimum guidelines. But whenever there's more than one person on the loan application, programs and lenders are required to use the lower credit score, even if there's multiple borrowers, for qualifying for the loan. So we can't just say, well, we're going to use this person's credit score and this person's income. It's all a combined factor when looking at the loan and pricing loans out for things like interest rates and things like that. Also important to note that if there's a co-borrower on the loan, they are not any less liable than the main borrower for that loan itself. It's going to show up on anybody's credit report that's a co-borrower. They're all going to have to sign the note, which is the promise to repay that mortgage, and they're going to go on title of that property as well, which shows ownership of that home. So there's no authorized user. There's not a case where if somebody's the main borrower and somebody's the co-borrower, that one person is more or less liable or has any more or less responsibility for that loan. If somebody's on the loan co-signer, it doesn't matter if they're in borrower one position or two or three, anybody on the loan application that's on that loan is going to have the same responsibility for that loan. And again, there's no difference between a co-borrower and a co-signer. If you're on the loan, you're a borrower. So just wanted to clear that up, as well as I've had a couple clients ask me about that. Now, there can sometimes be a plan that clients have in place that maybe the co-borrower is going to be a non-occupying co-borrower, which means they're not planning on actually living in the home as their primary residence. And maybe there's a plan for the future that the co-borrower says, well, I'll co-sign right now, but I'd like to be able to be taken off this loan in 1 or 2 years because they want to free up some of their own debt ratio for other financing opportunities that they may have in the future. That's where you have to get down to understanding what it takes. So in order to remove somebody from that loan, the loan will have to be refinanced. You cannot just request the lender remove somebody from that initial loan. You have to go through the process of refinancing. So what does that mean? Well, the person who wants to be the only one or taken the loan in their own names has to then be able to requalify when that time comes to refinance and take that co-borrower off of the loan. So if there's anything that we can get planning for, any debt that can be paid off, increase in credit score, showing additional income in the future to have the initial person qualify on their own, there has to be that plan in place but there also has to be the understanding of the risk that it comes with. And the co-borrower, if that's their goal, is to be able to get removed from this loan in the future at a certain time, they need to understand that in order for that to happen, this other person needs to have a plan in place to be able to qualify by themselves or with somebody else in the future. And that initial loan will get paid off. A new loan will be opened up if the refinance does happen. And so you also have to be mindful of, market conditions at that time, which we really can't plan for. Usually when you're locking in a loan initially, that interest rate is fixed for most clients. Of course, look at the terms of the loan that you're opening up to see if you have a fixed or adjustable rate. Make sure that there's not any prepayment penalties that you have to be aware of if you have a plan to refinance that co-borrower off in the future. So these are all conversations that have to be had, and that person who might want to get off that loan in the future just has to be aware that if anything happens where the person can't refinance that loan in the future, that there's no other way to be taken off. It has to be refinanced or the property would have to be sold in order for them to get removed from that loan. So let me know, was that useful? Was there any other questions that you can think of in regards to co-borrowers? Ask away, leave a comment down below, reach out to me here anytime. I really do enjoy making these videos here. I plan to keep doing this in the future. If you would, please do subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you all soon. I hope you have a great day.